With opening day officially underway, these are 6 hitters that I'm avoiding in fantasy baseball for the upcoming MLB season, starting off with Freddie Freeman of the Los Angeles Dodgers, who owns an ADP of 24th overall. Freeman was also on my players I dislike list, but I'm doubling down here as I truly think that this is a year he hits a massive decline. It absolutely pains me to put Freddie on this list since he's been a longtime favorite of mine and a player I've often targeted in drafts. The reality, though, is that he's 35 years of age and has seen an age-related skills decline over the past year. Freeman saw his average exit velocity and barrel percentage drop a fair amount in 2024, while his bat speed was also decreased relative to 2023. One more key point to note on Freeman is that he underwent ankle surgery in the offseason, which poses the question of how he will bounce back from that at his age. The Dodgers have also stated that it's unlikely for Freeman to play a day game after coming off of a night game, so he may honestly not even reach 140 games this year. Everyone's time comes to an end eventually, and while Freeman has been able to prolong his production longer than most others, I just feel that 2025 will be the year he truly begins to drop off. Next up on the hitters to avoid list is outfielder Michael Harris of the Atlanta Braves, coming into the season with an ADP of 41st overall. Now don't get me wrong, Harris is a supremely talented young hitter who has solid bat-to-ball skills as well as some power and speed too. However, this early 4th round price is extremely steep for a player that really hasn't put it all together just yet. In 2024, Harris posted 16 homers, 10 stolen bases, and a .264 batting average in 110 games. These numbers are solid, but they are also far from spectacular considering the price he now carries. Harris often gets praised for his plate discipline due to an above-average strikeout rate. However, his chase rate was one of the worst in the entire league last year, and he walked at just a 4.9% clip. I can definitely see some regression coming in his strikeout rate as a result this upcoming year. Add in the fact that he will likely hit in the bottom half of the order, and I just can't get too excited about him. I can certainly see a way where Harris puts up a 2020 season with an average around 275, but I simply just don't think that's worth a pick around 40th overall. Moving on now, I'm going with Brenton Doyle of the Colorado Rockies as a player to avoid this year with an ADP of 67th overall. I understand that Doyle is coming off of a breakout campaign that included 23 homers, 30 stolen bases, and a .260 average, all while playing half of his games in a hitter's paradise. In my opinion, though, this is all too reminiscent of Nolan Jones just a year ago. The profiles are awfully similar after all, with Doyle also struggling with making consistent contact. His whiff and chase rates were well below average, and even when he did make contact, it wasn't particularly of high quality. His home-away splits were truly eye-popping with a .313 average at home last year compared to a disastrous .211 on the road. This is very clearly a player who significantly benefited from his home park last season, and if those numbers regress like I expect they should, Doyle could be a massive bust in 2025. He will likely surpass both 15 homers and 50 stolen bases once again, but I can see the batting average dropping a good amount with worse counting stats as a result. If you've enjoyed the video thus far, dropping a like and smashing that red subscribe button would be greatly appreciated as it helps me continue making content just like this, which I will have consistently throughout the upcoming MLB season. Back to the list now, where I have Lawrence Butler of the Athletics coming into the season as a 71st player off the board on average. Butler actually does remind me of Doyle as they both had breakthrough years in 2024, and Butler also flashed impressive power and speed with 22 homers and 18 stolen bases in 125 games. With that though comes poor contact skills that include below average chase and whiff rates, a below average strikeout rate, and a middling walk rate. As a result of this, Butler isn't expected to be a helpful contributor in batting average, and on an Athletics team that still has room to grow, the counting stats should also lack as well. He should continue to chip in plenty of homers and stolen bases, but I personally don't think that they make up for the rest of his surrounding numbers. Something along the lines of 20 homers and 20 steals and a .250 average is likely, but I don't see that paying off a fairly high price tag. Next up is a guy that has been so dominant for so long, and that's slugger Paul Goldschmidt, the newly acquired New York Yankee who has an average draft position of 153rd overall. Goldschmidt is now entering his age 37 season, coming off of his worst year in over a decade. Goldie still hit 22 homers and stole 11 bases, but he saw his once steady batting average drop to a career low .245. When looking at the underlying numbers, it's clear that Goldschmidt has faced a steep skills decline. His expected WOBA fell over 30 points, and his plate discipline metrics all declined as well. What was most glaring is that his walk rate, that has always been above 12%, was almost cut into half to just 7.2%. Goldschmidt is clearly having to press a lot more in order to try and achieve similar production to his past years, causing other areas of his game to decline. While Goldie sees a major park upgrade heading to Yankee Stadium with a short porch and right, I highly doubt that outweighs what will likely be another skills decline during 2025. And finally, the last player on my avoid list for this upcoming MLB season is Bryce Turang of the Milwaukee Brewers, who has an ADP of 156th overall. Let's just start with the obvious. This number is almost entirely based on him stealing 50 bases last year, which is great, but the problem is that he doesn't provide much help anywhere else. Keep in mind that stolen bases are also as prevalent as ever with the new MLB rule changes, so there's no need to chase steals anymore. Turang had just 7 homers, 57 RBIs, 72 runs, and even his average of .254 is nothing to be too excited about. His expected slug, average exit velocity, barrel percentage, hard hit rate, and bat speed were all in the bottom 15% of the league in 2024. It's also likely that 50 stolen bases are not in his future for 2025, as many projection systems have him in the 30 to 40 range, so that leaves plenty to be desired in his profile. Unless he repeats his stolen base totals from last year and puts up double-digit home run numbers, I'm confident in saying that Turang won't pay off his price. Just let someone else chase his steals. And with that being said, that concludes the 6 hitters to avoid for fantasy baseball entering the 2025 MLB season. Let me know in the comments what you agree or disagree with, as well as who you are avoiding this year. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.